And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and a few years ago I reviewed a game called Flip Ships. Flip Ships is a dexterity game where you were flipping ships onto invading aliens. And whether I said it in the video, I don't remember if I did or not, but I definitely said it in real life. This is like Space Invaders, the board game. Well, the designer King Klenko obviously thought so, because once they got the license for Space Invaders with Buffalo, they remade it. So this is the same game with, I think there might be minor changes, but it's essentially the same thing, but with the Space Invaders theme. Now, Space Invaders, the deck building game, is a game I reviewed about a month or two ago, and it's horrifyingly bad. I mean, it's kick out the door and jump on it and run over it with a car bad. It's terrible. But this one, I already like Flip Ships. They added the Space Invaders theme. It's an obvious, this is a good game, but let's take a little bit better of a look than that. In this game, players are going to be each a different color, working together, fighting against the Space Invaders. So this is kind of a long board. This big alien spaceship here, is the UFO, is going to be behind the board. I didn't have room to put it there for now. But you're going to start with some random aliens here. You're going to build a deck of cards. This deck of cards will be a thickness based on number of players. You're trying to go through that deck, defeat all those aliens, and defeat the UFO. You're doing that before your health gets down to 0, and you need to hit the UFO a certain amount of times, and this number is adjusted based on how difficult you want to be and how many players are in the game. Each player is going to start with one level 3, one level 2, and one level 1 power. This gives you a very specific power that you can do, and each player is going to get a certain number of tokens that they'll be shooting each turn. Now you start with 2 level 1 tokens, but as you lose life, you'll be adding more and more to your pile that you'll be able to use. And as you're closer to death, you have more of these to shoot. Now what you're doing each turn, players are going to be taking turns. They're going to be putting these tokens into this launcher, holding the joystick down and shooting the token, which I just shot off the table. But let's see, what we're trying to do is trying to hit the aliens. Let's see if I can hit them. Not good enough. I'm going to keep trying to. Yeah, boom! Got that alien. So if you land on top of an alien, that alien and your token is removed. The only exceptions to that are some aliens require 2 hits on them. So you would just put it there, and then when another one hit it, you'll notice this one here would hit both of them, then both of these are removed. There's also some aliens that can't be hit because there's a shield alien next to them. So I can't hit these 2 until I hit this one. So players will take turns getting rid of aliens. After they're done with that, any aliens that you haven't hit are going to move. If it shows this yellow line, they come all the way down. If it shows the orange, they move down 2. Otherwise, they simply move down 1. And then you fill the top rows again. When an alien hits the bottom, it's going to do damage equal to the number on it. This one here is a 1, and then it's going to go back into the deck. You got to kill it eventually. And that's pretty much the whole game. Now, if you shoot over the board, hopefully you can shoot into the UFO, and that will do 1 damage to the UFO. To win the game, you need to kill all the aliens and have the UFO down to 0. If you kill all the aliens before you kill the UFO, you have like 1 final round to kill it. And like I said, there's all sorts of special abilities. Like, for example, this says if you hit the UFO with this blast, mark its damage and relaunch for a bonus shot. Or here we have, you can relaunch your token 1 time. You can destroy invaders that are shielded and ones that are 2 hits with a single hit. If you don't land any invader, apply the long blast wave to extend this shot. So you have a long blast wave, so if I land, I can put this next to it to make the shot bigger. And that's pretty much the game. Now, the components here are not amazing. This alien ship is 4 pieces. It has these boards that fold into the one side and then use plastic clips on the other side. I'm not thrilled by that. It doesn't fit together as well as I'd like. The Artwork, of course, is the 8-bit Space Invader artwork. It's fine. The card quality is fine. The tokens are fine. The special abilities are fine. The artwork on the board is fine, and it actually has a two-sided board. The board bends a little too much for me. It's a 6-bend board. I think I like the red side better, but this is only used in a 2-player game. You know what's not fine? By that I mean it's good, is the launcher itself. I don't know what it is about this launcher. I really like it. It looks like a joystick, and it launches in a different way than you normally see catapults launch, which for some reason, I don't know. This I love. It's a great component. And since this is the main part of the game, that's fine. So the components aren't terrific, but they're also not horrific either. It also comes with a place to put all the aliens you kill, because you do keep a score at the end of the game. You have a turn token to keep track of this, and also so you can see these, your little gun thing in place. It's good enough, and it has a lower price point, but I just think the components could have been nicer. So let's talk about the strategy in Space Invaders. So first of all, learn to flip the joystick well. Oh, that's all. I mean, yes, there's cool special powers, and, maybe we should aim for the ships that are going to come down faster, or this ship is going to be more damaging, or we want to hit the UFO a lot more before that final round, and blah, 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 blah. None of that matters. And I'll tell you why. Because unless you're amazing, you're going to just be lucky to hit ships with this thing. It takes some practice. It's a dexterity game about flipping the token and getting it near where you want it to be. Sure, if you're really good, at that point you're like, okay, I'm so good now that now let's think about the deeper strategy. For me, I'm still at the point where, like, I hit a ship, yes! Or if you hit multiple ships, it's very enjoyable. It's a dexterity game, it's silly fun, and I think it does a good job at bringing the Space Invaders theme to life. I am 44, and at this point in my life, most of my friends and me, we have fond memories of Space Invaders. It's just a game that we tend to remember and enjoy. And even if we don't, it's definitely in pop culture. Even if it's beyond your time, earlier than your time. I mean, and technically it predates me a little bit, but I still know what it is, and I've still played it. And here I have a board game that physically lets me take a joystick and flip tokens. Now, I tend to like dexterity games anyway. Dexterity cooperative games are fun because we're all cheering for each other. And this also does a good job at saying you have 3 different special abilities. They're randomized, so each game maybe a different combination. And it just feels cool. Like, oh, I can shoot this shot and then move it over and hit something. Ugh. And, of course, by the time you have your 3 powers, you're getting blown apart. And I've only won this game once. We've definitely beat all the aliens, and then it's like, oh, now we have to hit the mothership that we've been ignoring the whole game, and nobody could get it in there. But it's entertaining. It works for kids. It works for adults. It's going to work for people who have the nostalgia towards Space Invaders. But it also, kids are just like, hey, we're shooting spaceships. It's a universal theme. We're all here to fight against the alien menace. I think the game could have been slightly better quality. But at the same time, the fact that Buffalo is doing this, no, I know that it's going to be widely available. It's going to maybe get to people who wouldn't normally play a game like this. And for that, I'm thrilled. So cooperative dexterity games don't always work, but they often do. And the Space Invaders theme here is not just window dressing. The game obviously felt designed with that in mind. So a lot of fun. Space Invaders, this version anyway, is worth getting. And you can even play it solo. So there's that. 1 to 4 players. Stop the invasion. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment approved. Woo! It landed in the cup holder.